Recently, there has been a vocal outcry about how Fire EmBros has promoted Mangs and remained callous to the fact that Mangs pulled some incredibly hostile behaviors and never owned up to them. Obviously, I am supporting the call-out, and I'm making this because I do have my own points to make. And my input today is actually not complaint number 81,018,001 about how and why the corruption of the advanced source communities allowed Mangs to retain its power and platform. Though believe me, I could go on all day about that. What my input is, however, is given story elements for the game I would want to make, and why I'm having to address concerns about Mangs and his sycophants potentially exploiting the story structure. To set the stage, an important character in the story is going to be a manic pixie dream girl who gets all enamored with the protagonist, who the audience will recognize to be hormone-driven to say the least. But the manic pixie dream girl won't be seeing it much, at least if it's any indication that she's simply calling him a good healthy smarty, apparently oblivious to him having CBS, and making it clear she knows one when she sees one, and I quote, with or without destiny. And the ways the story is going to be designed, it's going to be the manic pixie dream girl's loyalty to the protagonist that indirectly leads to the hero's triumph over the incredibly powerful, world-threatening evil before them. And I think everybody can guess the finer details with that point for good measure. So what's the problem? Well, quite simply, potential unfortunate implications. This has a danger of sending a message that girls should just be nice to guys, no questions asked. It is fair to bring up that the opposite sex is far from blameless, especially when disloyal people like MasaeAnela exist. And this is especially true with the Mangs mess, going as far as to involve Mangs having a wife who herself is a sadist. What is not fair is that Mangs and his sycophants, showing how they are worse, abuse these excuses to throw about their callous barbarian behaviors all across the board, especially bolstered by the sadist wife who the sycophants claim is the nicest person ever. There is already some land details that would contrast the manic pixie dream girl from Mangs' wife. Namely, the manic pixie dream girl character involves positive friend influence, a big difference from Mangs' wife, who was no doubt chosen for her toxic friend influence provided to Mangs. And yes, I say chosen without Mangs chooses to be a scumbag like clockwork. He could tell his wife to have moral sensibilities, but instead, all he cares about is having somebody to exploit for his image. I can point out that the protagonist of the story is proven to have a conscience even before meeting with the manic pixie dream girl, notably even clarifying about the nature of a spell he takes for her when they meet, that the spell was by design, compromising him less to begin with, and it ultimately leads him to commitment of more altruistic actions that end up resulting in his prosperity after irrefutable effort. And that's a big takeaway. Both the protagonist and the manic pixie dream girl ultimately prove themselves outstanding beyond doubt. And the manic pixie dream girl shows herself to be a sheep in sheep's clothing to the protagonist for that, while the protagonist eventually learns the full extent of the manic pixie dream girl's loyalty to him, naturally by chance after his own hero's frontier step. This is something that does not apply with Mangs or his wife. All the same, without the Mangs sycophants want to paint the false image of Mangs being a good guy, even including clear, totally not deconstructions of Mangs and his supporters for their atrocities, wouldn't stop the Mangs sycophants from twisting the manic pixie dream girl's character concept. That would be saying a character who, when all is said and done, is a heroic seductress should be innately treated as a role model all women should just imitate blindly. Never mind that breaks the whole point of the manic pixie dream girl's intelligence. She is supposed to be a show of what sort of person would even appeal to the likes of the protagonist, but therein lies the problem. And it shows how Mangs and his sycophants want their escapism as their excuse for attacking the convenient target of the day. I think I'm glad there is a healthy solution for this. Writing the manic pixie dream girl as a pure good / magnificent baddie hybrid. And literally all I would need to do to guarantee this with what I already have had in mind for the longest time is write her as somebody who gives combat role advice to volunteer child soldiers with her not showing any direct signs of recognizing the gravity of their involvement. And when an outside among their count gives her a backhanded insult, thinking she doesn't know what she is doing, she saves the response to the insult as turning it into a way to cite the protagonist as somebody they can actively trust. How convenient. Now, of course, I'm obviously the author, and therefore, no matter how accurate I am with my assessment, a second opinion would still be necessary to double-check for any biases or other critical factors I could have overlooked. I do still like to think I only need to make sure the execution goes off without a hitch, and to make sure that already that the magnificent part will not be a problem. The manic pixie dream girl's sense of intelligence is already a plot point in case anybody can tell, to say nothing of further points beyond anything involving the protagonist. Her methods are unorthodox rather than harboring any notion of cruelty. Adaptability is her MO in battle. To get around obvious critical flaws in her stat build, charm is covered by her having innate charisma backed by surprising amounts of bravery, creativity, and patience. Even dignity is going to involve her being honorable in one defeat that happens against a should-be ally, defined to the end in a seemingly hopeless situation against the big bad due to superior material disadvantage, and straight up powering through incredible pain to pep talk the protagonist and even mix in an offer of a birthday present, working off of opportune timing by the story structure. I can be sure I'm only needing to add the baddie part to make it clear the manic pixie and dream girl should be evaluated, not imitated in any mindless manner. Where am I going with all this and talk about the manic pixie dream girl character? Well, how about that if I simply relieve the story without caring about the problems, Mangs and his supporters would thank me for allegedly bolstering their arguments against the people who are anti-Mangs, just because I will be providing potential material in the first place. Mercifully, however, in the recent conflict with Ming supporters, a user named BalanceEXP calls out that these are people who don't give a damn about loyalty, a sharp contrast from the story's protagonist and the manic pixie dream girl character. Not that he has been needing to realize that as if he could have. The use of this both so-called strategy is already something California pulls in general to my annoyance. It's a problem with Mangs and his supporters as well. The reason this particularly warrants a video, however, is the confusion that the Mangs sycophants create with some under-the-radar members by acting like they're anti-Mangs just to mock the notion of being anti-Mangs. I already did a stream calling out that among some other harassment that I got, and during that stream, they kept pulling that same behavior. But the clincher is that one user, Ken Knight of Kalen 4537, acted like these supporters on chat. I know for a fact that Ken Knight of Kalen 4537 is genuinely anti-Mangs, and 5 minutes before I ended my stream, he even posted a comment on Fire EmBros video denouncing Fire EmBros for supporting Mangs so callously. Because of the Mangs supporters pulling mockery while the Fire Emblem community wants to turn him into Tom Dredolo Venster, it is hard to find the genuine anti-Mangs people, and I do mean genuine, not the corrupt likes of the Advance Wars subreddit who claim to disallow Mangs content only to allow its memes without question anyway. By the way, the funny thing about Mangs getting to be known as Tom Dredolo Venster, I recall Albus Dumbledore stated that people should be calling Voldemort by that name. And mentioned that fear of a name increases fear of the thing itself. And I'm pretty sure Dumbledore is on the magnificent baddie trope for basically turning Harry and his close friends Ron and Hermione into child soldiers. Sound familiar, doesn't it, by the way? Regardless, the Voldemort analogy showed that keeping discussion about him from happening doesn't work. These problems just keep coming back. I imagine even if Mangs were truly held accountable, the problems would come back anyway, but at least they wouldn't have the momentum they do to this day. And here's the particularly nasty bit, the legality defense of Mangs. The Mangs sycophants are claiming that Mangs didn't do anything to Goosefon simply because he was never tried for it in a court of law. Yeah, I'll believe that when I actually see a legal investigation upon the police brutality against me at my parents' house on March 28th. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not happening even though I have more than enough evidence to convince any halfway sensible jury that I had to go through too many problems with the parents' house mess. Then the legal system is straight up broken. And that's my point. Goosefon likely can't even afford an attorney because the legal system only cares about money and power, not the truth. I'm having trouble getting anywhere with setting up a case over an incident that was local. Yet Goosefon is expected to get anything going with a cross-country incident. I'm sick of that so-called defense for how farcical it truly is. Mangs sycophants, they're far more legitimacy against Mangs than against Big Mignonia or Chugga Conroy. If you want to keep claiming that should be in court, then either get the Contra Costa police investigated for the police brutality against me on March 28th, or shut the hell up with your innocent until proven guilty claims of somebody who shows about so many hostile behaviors. Oh my God. There is one other thing that is worth involving to close this up, and that's the snippet of Mekkah's Mangs July 2020 video, starting at 1 hour 47 minutes 54 seconds, and lasting about 85 seconds. I'll let Mekkah say what I had realized well before he even created the video, something that is a good reason why people are none too happy with Fire EmBros.
Mangs' large fan base is a huge part of what gives him the power to abuse others. It is these fans who harassed Goose when she came out with her story, harassed Chaz when he publicly supported Goose, and harassed me for not working with Mangs anymore or making Advance Wars videos. It is these fans that he used to gain sympathy in We Need to Talk. It is all these fans that put 100k subscribers next to his name on YouTube that make him one of the faces of the Fire Emblem and Advance Wars communities. Even if you only watch his content without subscribing to him, you are boosting his videos for the YouTube algorithm. His YouTube fame turns him into an example for people who identify with him and makes his side in the situation appear more legitimate. It makes it easier for Mangs to mislead new fans over a situation where he acted in a predatory way, and it helps him discredit the experience of the women who came out against him in the past. Not only that, but it also bolsters the argument that you can do the things that he has done, lie about it, and come back even larger and stronger, as if there are no consequences because it's the internet. And this sets a dangerous precedent for a younger and more impressionable audience. This goes double for those who actively support Mangs in making videos, like collaborators, designers, and editors. By working with or for Mangs, they facilitate and enable him so that he can reach more people. They normalize him as a figurehead of the community, and they undo the efforts of his victims and their supporters.
I hope this punctuates nicely why the likes of Fire EmBros and his relentless support of Mangs is a problem.